good one. If I say to someone, start off, I talked about what happens when you get to the end of your journey, when you hit your target weight, how your brain goes just like that. Losing, push and pull, not sure what's going on, how to deal with that, what do you do with goal setting, etc. Now I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happens more probably on the psychological side if someone doesn't continue, right? Because them's be the facts sometimes. And interestingly, I was actually just, the notes I have brought up, which were incorrect, I was writing out some live to the end of May, June time. That's how far I had my head. And I was, in that, I'm also talking about some of the pause mentalities. So that kind of relates to some of this. So we'll touch on that gently today. Hey, Osmo. Just stroke it slightly. Hey, Mita. Believe that's you in disguise. Hey! Straight out here is you. Good. Right. Okay. Coach Helen for YouFit Studio. I feel really short today because I'm on a short chair. I'm on a normal chair, and today I'm like on a little stool. So I feel like that person at the family dinner that got the small straw on the stool front. Today I'm going to talk about I'm going to talk about why, in some senses, yo-yo diet happens. What happens after you lose weight? If, for example, you play the short-term game. Now, a couple of things to explain. Firstly, statistically, oh, love that word. Get this. I don't know who made this statistic. I read it though in several studies. So there is a reason why it happens. 70% of people who lose weight put the weight back on at some point. 70%. That is an exceptionally high percentage. And, full disclosure, in fairness, I have actually been in that 70%. You might all go, whoa, how is that even possible? You're a coach. How can you put weight back on? I am also human. So I did lose a fair bit of weight, as some of you will know. And I gained a fair bit of weight at some point as well. Right? So, from personal experience, I can admit, I'd love to say I'm squeaky clean in 30%. In reality, though, I am in that 70%. So why does it happen? What's the psychology? Where does it all go wrong? I'll get to that question. First question straight at the back. So someone's asking, how do you know if it's water weight or fat? It's hard to know. This is very great. I'm going to remember to get this right, because I also wrote this the other day. The great thing, the thing about scales is they show you a loss or gain. They do not show you what you have lost and gained. So that's why a individual measurement in isolation is never correct, right? That's why you need to look at a trend over usually a 2 to 3 week period of time, or regular weigh-ins, and then see tracks and trends to know if it's the case. Whilst rolling out some of the biggies, like, did I generally, I'm going to do this because I'm a woman, did I really keep it under control when I was having my period or getting ready for my period? Full disclosure. Did I perhaps say I had 2 slices of pizza, but in fact I had 4 for a splurge? Did I really, if I'm honest, be as active or as train as often? Well, I did this last week as well, mate. So did I have more frothy coffees and stuff that I may not have taken full account of? So basically, am I fully conscious of all my behaviours, really genuinely deep down, without explaining it to my coach, perhaps? Am I really going to tick all those off and go, wow, that's incredible. I've stuck 100% to plan, 100% of the time as it was the week before, and my weight's gone up? Then that's unusual, I'm going to be honest. Not impossible. For example, without going into specifics, I had a client who had an actual diagnosis where inflammation had happened. Now that's a diagnosis. How many times has that happened in 4 years? Once this week. So, whilst it's difficult to tell, you can always know by your own behaviours if it's legit or something else, I think, personally. Now, 70%. So 70% generally put weight back on. And a big reason for that is that when it comes to maintaining the loss of weight, when I talked about the loss of motivations, the driving push and pull goals I talked about last week, there comes with it kind of I used the word the other day, and use it again because I've heard it many times. I am comfortable now. I'm happy. This is where I want to be. And a lack of recognition of what needs to be done to maintain. So where does it then slide from I can maintain with doing what I'm doing and not? Well, the simplest answer is, in all fairness, is that being, again, 100% transparent, most of us will come to the journey of weight loss at a particular age. It's unusual, not impossible, to have clients joining in their 20s or teens. A majority of clients will probably sit in the 30 to 40s plus range. Now that means that if they've had to join us, their behaviours and habits when it comes to both nutrition and activity will be inbuilt for, well, as many years as that takes, because I probably need some help with maths. I really do. So many years, right? So you're joining UFit and you've been with us, let's just say 3 months or 12 months, whichever agreement you're doing online or in-house. Really, even with the best intentions, if you are doing all these habits, losing all this weight, feeling fantastic, achieving your goal, it still means that you've been doing these new habits and behaviours a short amount of time and you're doing the stuff that you're doing before. Now, what do I see or have back from clients if they get to the finish line of weight and do not, what's the word to use? Do not see where they need to continue the balance? It's a very slow, what actually you see happen is a very slow, I want to say decline, that sounds a bit harsh. Reintroduction, shall we say, reintroduction of previous habits from before they even heard of UFit. Now it can be so slow, I don't want to liken it to, like a snail. I'll say a snail. I mean, you look at a snail back and forth, it ain't moving very minimally. That's a bit like what happens with habits when somebody kind of says, I'm here, I've finished, I'm done, bye-bye, thank you, cheers, doodles. It starts with very small things, like not doing steps. Then it kind of slides into portions getting a little bigger. Then it slides into maybe a little, generally speaking, there's a bit of a celebration as well when they hit goal weight, that's a big one. Slide into those behaviours, which means intaking more calories. A kind of general understanding about energy, so maybe I don't need to work out as often now, just once or twice a week will be good, even though I've been doing 3 or 4. And this, I'm talking about, these habits and behaviours will change not dramatically within the first week, maybe over a number of months, which will give the illusion or delusion to the person doing this that actually nothing much is changing. Clothes don't immediately get very tight, don't immediately feel bad. And then, if you think about this though, if you cast your mind back to when you initially gained weight, it wasn't like that either. It wasn't like a tidal wave happened one day, you woke up with, right? You were slowly, over a long period of time, years really, adopting these behaviours that had a very small, very tiny, incremental damage to your health and weight. So before you know it, you're almost back to where you started. Now, I did say I was in the 70%, and I am going to be full disclosure because it happened to me not that long ago. Let's call it the last 6 months, shall we? Now, for me, always known this about clients, you think, how has this happened to you, coach? Because it is so slow, you can be, and I was convinced that my clothes are still fitting, kind of fooling myself that everything was in place. And actually the reality is that it can be so small and so incremental that before you know it, you're there. You're like, oh, haha. Now, did that mean that I had to get some accountability? Yes. Did that mean that I had to go back to basics? Yes. Did that mean that I had to have full disclosure and have someone keep me accountable? Yes, it did. Now, this is where, whilst I'm quite lucky and grateful to be in a community of people where I'm able to get the sport quite quickly, as a working team and as a community as well, to be in this mindset, I'm very, very lucky, right? I'll say that hands down. I'm very, very lucky to be able to access that, because it could mean that I could turn it around quite quickly, very quickly actually, and go through the process again, just like a client. Like go for the grind, get back to my basics, stop deluding myself that I've got to a certain weight and I'm maintaining it. No, I'm not, because I'm not doing X, Y, Z, right? I'm very lucky. Now, majority of people do not have that. So what does it create if you don't have access to something like this? Yo-yo dieting. Now, yo-yo dieting is always, and has been for a lot of people, the quick, sharp drive home, like drive it down, attempt to maintain it, slide back into behaviours, gain weight, think that that thing didn't work, and then start something new, or go back and do the same thing again. So the issue isn't, right, and this is want to be clear, the issue with this isn't that you cannot lose weight with whatever you're doing, it's actually keeping it off after you've finished doing it. Now here and there lies the, I'm going to do this, rub, okay? The rub is, and I feel like I'm a bearer of bad news for some people. There is no finishing line. I talked about this a little bit the other day, when you think there is, when you cross over and get your ideal weight and go, way, give me the medal, give me the award. I'd like to thank the following people, and now I'm going home. That mindset towards weight loss and health journey is what creates this, when people will jump from one thing to another, thinking that actually the issue is that that thing is not working for them, it's not right for them, and it isn't. It's actually the process of keeping weight off once they get there that's the issue. Now, what does it take? Some of the things I talked about last week, for sure. I think there is definitely an acceptance about looking at it like, well, I've got there and this is what I need to do now, this is great, or I took a little bit off and that's it. That's not the case at all. It is always a work in progress, regardless of what you try, what you do. Yeah, I applaud yo-yo dieters. I actually do. I think they're brilliant people. Why? And I've said this for a long time, actually. I actually adore, I'm going to use that word, I adore yo-yo dieters. Some people are like, why on earth would you adore yo-yo dieters? Because they're just jumping back and forth. But the point is, they keep coming back to something because they want to get there. That takes a certain type of resilience that often even yo-yo dieters themselves don't recognise. They will see it themselves as, I am permanently failing in something, I'm getting the weight off and not keeping off, there must be something wrong with me. Whereas I'm like, let's flip that thinking, because you know what, you could just keep putting on and 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 never know that it's time to do something. So it's not that you can't lose weight or you don't have the ability to lose weight, it's understanding the whole process, what happens, the grind, right? We've talked about that before. The grind, what happens, and actually this is part of the process, right? Now for some people, gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight is, and I've accepted this chapter as part of my journey as well. Actually, it's a very fascinating time for me to do this process again. I have to accept it as part of my journey. And if you are in that struggle between I'm gaining weight, I'm losing weight, I'm gaining weight, I'm losing weight, what is wrong, this isn't how it's meant to be, actually part of it is saying, actually this is part of my learning right now, this is part of the journey. The only difference is that when I'm doing this, I now need to crack my thought process that you just lose weight and finish, right? That is it. You get there and go, toodles, thanks, this was great fun, cheers. It is for life, this, unfortunately, to some degree. I mean, fortunately for us, because we are otherwise out of a job, right? However, the reality is this is for life. So if you're one of those people that's like, I can't do it, I repeat, you can, and actually credit to you that you come back again and again to find a solution. And again, full disclosure, often some clients will come, use the YouFit services, lose some weight, not be as much as they expected, etc., and then go try something else. And they do, I have to be honest, some of them do come back. I would say we have on our challenge currently quite a few returning members, and I'm quite happy to have them back. I'm really pleased to have them back, actually. I think it's fantastic they've come back, because they know that something in that process has worked for them before, and it wasn't about that, whether it worked or not. It was the next stages after that, right? This is important. And that's, again, we have the opportunity now, again, to work with these clients and ensure that happens next time around, right? Or just change something in the formula that works. So, gaining weight, and in general, I should do just one on, oh, that's what I'll do live on gaining weight. Just specifically on that. Let's just talk about gaining weight again, like that does. Like, it's fascinating. I wasn't planning to go full disclosure on this live, I don't know because I've got my notes. But yes, it is for me as a coach to have gained weight again, and how that felt psychologically, what it felt to go through the process of losing weight again, etc. That itself was a fascinating process. and you know, it's definitely given me a refresher, we'll say, a refresher insight to what it's like to be back in that cycle, and what it takes to get your head around everything that all our clients have to do all day in, day out, right? So it's no wonder that sometimes things don't go according to plan, right? I'm not there yet. I've got a little way to go, tiny bit of way to go, tiny bit of way to go. If you want any clarification, have a look at my face back in January and have a look at it now. There is a distinct difference, right? So it happens to us all, right? Nobody's immune. But again, to repeat, it's not that you can't lose weight. You can lose weight. It's about how to manage your expectations around it, yes, and how to deal what happens afterwards. Now, I would love to see what's going on the rest of the week, but I've got my plan. I'm back on Wednesday, though. I can say that. I'm back on Wednesday at 5, and I'm back Thursday at 5. So for more little tidbits, I've got quite a lot of mindset stuff coming up, actually, over the next few weeks, because I think we're about to get into that stage where it becomes to the forefront. It's definitely in the forefront of a lot of the conversations I'm having with clients at the moment, is that getting ready for May, as if there's a start line there. Talk about a finish line. There appears to be a start line in April, May time. Well, I think it's April, May to June. I think some people have got it. My start point is April, as soon as we're allowed to get into the outdoor arena, or May, because I can go into a restaurant, cannot wait, and then June, when I'm like, I have my passport, I'm out of here, right? So a lot of my stuff over the next few weeks is going to be around some of the mindset stuff to I can't say get ready, but it is a bit like that. So ready, steady, go, life, right? So I'm aware that a lot of you out there are kind of getting into that mindset because I've had those conversations now. So if any of you want to comment on any of this or message me, etc., etc., inbox is always open, as is, and I will catch you again on Wednesday.